This video is sponsored by technically no one, but I got a Patreon. We reworked everything. For just $2 a month, you can get the playtest material that tests out the buffs I use in my videos. The Monk rework is coming out this month, so maybe check that out. Not only are you supporting these videos financially, but you're also giving me valuable feedback to help me make the best buffs possible. At the $10 tier, you can get a shout out and join people like Panko6, Beefmaster, and Manifestering. So thank you to the Patreons, but for now, let's talk about this movie. Oh, also disclaimer, I call all the characters by the actors' names, because that's just how I roll. Okay, video time. So I watched the D&D movie, and you know what? I am pleasantly surprised by how good it was. I thought it was just going to be a soulless cash grab of a recognizable IP, but no. It did feel like the people who made this movie not only knew the world of D&D, but also what the true essence of D&D is. Just a bunch of idiots trying to solve a series of problems in creative ways. Like, very, very creative ways. And really, that's all D&D is. Dungeons & Dragons is a funny, action-packed adventure movie. If you saw the trailer and think you would like it, you probably will. The plot centers around Chris Pine, trying to rescue his daughter from a corrupt lord. So he gathers a team, and they go on a quest across the land to find information, items, and allies. Typical D&D stuff. They even have Chris Pine explain his tragic backstory in the beginning, to which the people listening are like, can we speed this up? It's great, because I've definitely been both of those people. Now, obviously, there are some inconsistencies between the D&D 5e rules and this movie. Specifically, the druid that turned into an owlbear that people got mad at when the trailers came out. And you know what? Despite her going against the golden rules of the player handbook that we all follow devoutly and never make up our own rules, her wild shaping scenes are the coolest part of the movie, hands down. If the movie followed the exact rules of D&D, this movie would suck eggs. Besides, they even say in the movie, there is no druid like her, so she is special. So even with the rules in mind, it's fine because she is an exception. Anyone who complains about the movie not matching the rules should be shoved into a locker. Michelle Rodriguez's character attacks more than 2 times in 6 seconds. Does that inspire your nerd rage too? Speaking of Michelle Rodriguez's character, she was probably the best character in this movie. She's this tough warrior lady that can fight 5 guys at once with any item that's around her. Her fight scenes are shot pretty well. There's a bit of shaky cam and some quick cuts, but for the most part, it is good. She wants to prove to everyone that underestimated her that she is a mighty warrior, just as worthy as her fallen ancestors were, and she's gonna make anyone who abandoned her feel so dumb. She has a great character arc, except, well, we'll get into that in the spoiler half of this review. Rodriguez plays really well off Chris Pine's character, the Bard, and it's just refreshing to see a movie of people who are friends act like friends. They aren't just constantly quipping at each other or putting each other down at every single point because the writers are afraid if they fall below the Marvel joke per minute quota, people will lose interest. There's this one scene where Olga, Rodriguez's character, is feeling pretty upset, and I was dreading Chris Pine dropping some stupid quip. But no, he plays her a song to make her feel better, and then I was dreading, oh no, now she's gonna make some stupid quip and make fun of the song. But no, she starts to feel better and sings along with him. It's just a really wholesome moment, and it works. All the actors were great in this movie. Hugh Grant is just doing classic Hugh Grant things, and it works really well. The villain was scary, and the main cast were really great at bouncing off each other. For me, 95% of the jokes landed, so that's pretty good. The CGI was really good. Well, except for one bit. They can make a super realistic dragon, but they can't make a halfling. Seriously, anytime there is a halfling on screen, there's this weird uncanny valley effect that you can just tell is a green screen and a sized down person. Fellowship of the Ring came out in 2001, 22 years before this one. No excuses. You could have just hired a little person and saved money on visual effects. Whatever. There are some Dragonborn in this movie, and they look fine. It's clearly a practical effect, but it's still like a good practical effect. You know what I mean? There's this one costume that's really bad, but we're gonna get to that in the spoiler town portion of this video. In any case, if you have an interest in seeing this movie, you will probably enjoy it. I'd recommend it to anyone who likes D&D. And it's about time we talk about spoilers, so if you don't want any spoilers, click away now. Get out of here. We good? All right. Okay, so I'm gonna break this up into the good and the bad, and we're gonna start with the bad because, let's be honest, you want blood. Alright, so the theme this movie was trying to express blundered so hard. Remember how I said Chris Pine's character had a tragic backstory? Basically, he feels he was responsible for his wife's death and wants to resurrect her with a special stone. This is the only way to revive her because she got stabbed with a turbo evil dagger. Then, throughout the movie, he has a bunch of flashbacks and starts to learn the importance of letting go. His dead wife even says to him, "Sometimes you just gotta let things go, Chris Pine." The movie lays the theme on you really thick. Rodriguez's character even has some letting go issues, where her husband left her and she's mad her tribe disowned her, and she wants to prove to all of them that she's a mighty warrior and wants to prove them wrong, and she still holds resentment toward them. Then the final fight happens, and against the odds, the big bad evil gal is defeated. But oh no, Rodriguez got stabbed in the heart by a turbo evil dagger, the one where only a special stone can revive you. The whole group is sad, but she's content. They saved Chris Pine's daughter, and she proved that she is a mighty warrior. I mean, she helped defeat a super powerful wizard. Chris Pine's daughter is really upset because Rodriguez helped raise her since she was a baby. Basically, she was like a mother to her. But Rodriguez assures her that she and her dad are gonna be okay, they have each other. So she starts to sing the song that Chris Pine sang to her when she was upset earlier in the movie, which I thought was sappy and super schmaltzy, but everyone says I have a heart of stone, whatever. But it is sad, and she dies. She proved to the people that actually care about her that she is worth it not only as a fighter, but as a friend. She lets go of all that resentment she had for her tribe that banished her and for her ex-boyfriend, and passes on peacefully. And Chris Pine stares at the special resurrection stone and realizes he has to let go too. So he doesn't use the stone on his wife. He uses it on Rodriguez. His character arc was about learning to let things go, and he learns to let things go by not letting someone go. Let her die. Her character arc was nearly perfect. Y'all want to be like D&D? Then accept your character died. Come on, movie. God, the theme of this movie is like watching someone do an amazing high dive and then belly flop right at the end. Speaking of messing things up at the very end, the big bad evil gal's plan was to lure a bunch of people into a coliseum and turn them into zombies with some red cornucopia thing. The movie never really gets into it. She's a red wizard of Thay, which everyone knows of and knows they are very evil and fear them. Literally, guards attack Thay wizards on sight in this movie. Her plan is to turn the people of the city into her undead army. She has spent over 2 years working on this plan. So when this turbo evil wizard starts floating in the air, eldritch tentacles descending from the sky, red smoke that turns people into zombies, billowing down onto citizens, what foils her plan? The citizens simply walk away from the smoke. There wasn't a magical force field to stop them, no armed guards, no locked doors. They just walked out of the Coliseum on their own 2 feet. The movie tried to make you believe, oh, it was the heroes giving the city free treasure that lured them out. And that's what the movie is trying to convince us to think. But I don't know, man. If I saw Wizard Al-Qaeda floating in the air at a soccer game summoning hentai from the sky, I wouldn't say to myself, well, let's see how this plays out. No, I would leave. I just feel like there was 1 or 2 shots missing from this scene. If there were some shots of desperate citizens trying to escape but stopped by a locked door or something, this wouldn't have been an issue. One particularly bad scene was with the dragon. At one point, they are running away from a dragon, but they're trapped in a small room about 7 feet wide, 7 feet long, and 7 feet tall. Nowhere to go, but the dragon can't fit its fat head through the room, so it's trying to get at him, and it's damaging the room as it starts thrashing its way in, and the ceiling begins to crack, letting in seawater. So they're either going to get eaten by a dragon or drown. Things don't look good. How is the gang gonna get out of this one? Wait, the dragon is spewing flammable gas out of its mouth. So what do? They duck underwater, and the sorcerer sticks his hand out and lights a small magical flame, causing an explosion to break the ceiling and escape. Okay, so a couple things. They should all be dead. All of them. Somehow, that sorcerer's hand was completely fine. His hand was at the epicenter of an explosion that broke stone. It especially should be meat chunks, along with all the other people there in that room. They should all look like ground beef. Also, explosions are more dangerous underwater. Here's a link explaining that. And what about the stone falling onto their heads? I'm just saying, The scene could have just been, and then they ran away from the dragon through a tiny passage the dragon couldn't fit through. Like, I'm all for breaking physics for the sake of entertainment, but this one scene pushes it. Okay, what else is funny and I can make fun of? Oh, is this one scene where there's this crowd of people and they're all gathered around this massive fish that got dragged onto a dock and everyone looks really concerned, and it cuts to a distressed mother who is a tabaxi, and the costume of this tabaxi looks like a bad taxidermy cat. I'm not kidding when I say this looks like the stoned fox meme. This tabaxi is a worried mother that these villagers are trying to console, but they're trying to console this like weird Chuck E. Cheese animatronic, and then the paladin goes up to a fish and pulls out a tabaxi child out of the fish's mouth, and in my mind, I'm just screaming, oh god, there's two of them now! And it's kind of hard not to giggle thinking about the stupid cat. Now the CG and the practical effects look good throughout this movie, but not this part. But here's the thing, I think the tabaxi looks so bad, it circles back to being good because it's so funny. They could have just had a normal actress on the day of shooting do that scene and not had that monstrosity, but no, they went with methed out Garfield. Oh, I'm so happy they did. Despite all that bad stuff, the weird editing, the explosion that they should have all died from, the crack cat, I'm nitpicking. I still really like this movie, so let's talk about the good bits. The druid, oh man, the druid. She's the best part about this movie. I don't care if she wild-shaped like 7 times without taking a short rest in between. It was so cool. There's a chase scene where she is trying to escape and she keeps turning into different animals, and it's crazy, and the camera, it's like a oneer, I think. It actually might be like a one-shot or look like a one-shot. Probably not really actually a one-shot, but that's not the point. And the owl bear she turns into is so cool. She absolutely demolishes the main villain in the most over-the-top gratuitous way, and it is hilarious. The planning that these guys go through does feel like a group of people playing D&D. They come up with a bunch of plans and have to adapt when a wrench gets thrown in the gears. The portal painting scene was so clever, and it's really nice to see characters in a movie be smart and not deus ex machina their way to a solution. I really appreciate that. This even extends to the fight scenes with Rodriguez's character. She uses anything and everything within her reach. And I'm not kidding when I say her best fight scene was when her main weapon was a brick. Just a normal brick. It's good, I swear. The Paladin Zank was great. I really like characters that just don't understand sarcasm. I just like that bit. Also, his fight scenes were really cool. You give a man a glowing sword and I'll be happy. I'm just a simple man. The writing was mostly good, the CGI was mostly good, the jokes landed, and the actors knocked it out of the park. It was a fun time. Overall, this movie was good. If I were to give it a score, 1 being a trash movie, 10 being a masterpiece, and 5 being an average movie, I'd give this movie an 8 out of 10. One last thought, I am happy to report this movie does have a dragon, and it's in a dungeon. They did it, baby. They solved D&D. We did it, boys. Well, it wouldn't, I don't know if like the dungeon would technically fit like the dictionary definition of a dungeon, but it's like a dungeon type situation. And we take those W's, baby.